Hello everyone, welcome back for episode 40, our usual intro of the What a Load of Bulls podcast. But before we go any further, you're listening to DJ Dilworth, and I do have someone very special with me. Everyone stand up and applaud the Lyle Keats OAM Tarrant Point Men's Major Singles Champion for 2024-25, Simon Little, everybody. Welcome, Simon. Mate, how does it feel?
Well, it's probably the best thing you've said to me all year, DJ. Or the best
I'm
thing
not
you've done
text
for me.
messages during the week, will we?
No. Thanks very much for that intro.
Mate, I'm dead set proud of you. I mean, you've proved a lot of people wrong. You proved a lot of doubters wrong, me included. But not only that, you proved the scientists wrong, mate. Lightning does strike twice.
Why is that?
Because it's your second time you've won.
So yeah, twice. Yeah.
Come on, mate. It's not funny when you have to explain the punchline. But now, well done, mate. Obviously, big question. Was it worth missing your daughter's first birthday for?
Just to go on the record, DJ, I did not miss her first birthday. I was there for her first birthday. I was in Brisbane on Saturday and flew back to Tarrant Point on early Sunday morning for the singles in the afternoon.
That was very lovely of you that Vanessa was understanding for that.
It was a big weekend.
Did you feel much pressure in the final, mate? Obviously, you were heavy favourite after beating Razor. You played another Simon who doesn't exactly play in the higher grades. But not only that, if you had lost that, you would have had to go home and explain to Vanessa how you left Brisbane early to go down and get beat. So, mate, were you feeling the pressure?
I think I was feeling the pressure more from the household because I was told, make sure you don't come home with a loser. So
I love it.
That was the pep talk whenever I left Brisbane. So that was that fired me up. Yeah, look, I think my final was definitely the semi-final, beating Razor, and then look, Simon plays in one of the lower grades. Doesn't play top grade at Tarrant Point that I played in the final, but I knew he could play some really good bowls and some really good draw bowls. So he's going to get bowls close, and it was definitely a little bit. The mindset had to be a little bit different going into that game than what it normally would have been, and not to take anything for granted, really, and still rock up as if, I had to play the best game that I could play. And I think it did play pretty well and deserved the win.
25-7 scoreline suggests that you did play very well, mate. So congratulations. Was there many there watching it?
Yeah, there was a good few. We had, it was a bit of a finals day. We had the ladies singles final being played as well. Kay Walker won, that plays on the ladies state side. So she's the ladies singles final. Also, then we had our mixed pairs final as well on that day. So, yeah, they tried to run the multiple finals at the same time, trying to get a bit of a crowd down at the club. And, pretty successful. That was the last day of all the finals. It was run previous Saturdays and Sundays in the weeks leading up to that. Yeah, it was pretty good, and there was a good few watching, so it was a good day.
Off to the champions then, mate?
Yeah, looking forward to that. I believe that's being held in West Sydney somewhere, so no trip away anywhere, sadly.
You'd still consider accommodation, but mate, I mean, it's not a long way to travel, but in terms of time, it's a long way to travel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Razor might have something to say like that if I go and book somewhere out in West Sydney, but I don't know. Nah, I'll stay at home.
Good on you, mate. Well done. You had a good 24 hours in Brisbane, did you?
Yeah, it was fun. Ellie's first birthday, so presents, and it was nice relaxing up there in the heat and the humidity in Brisbane still. So that was a good day for her, and it was a hectic weekend. So that's about me. They'll tell the viewers where you were last weekend, DJ.
I wasn't anywhere last weekend. Our pennants started, but during the week it was the BPL.
During the week,
I was on the BPL. Yeah, it was good, mate. It was good down in Moama again, mate. It is one of the best clubs going around.
Yeah,
facilities. Second to none at the minute, but they will be second to Maitland City in the next 12 months. But, man, it's a long way from anywhere.
Yeah?
So it is, yeah. So, we flew into Tullamarine from Newcastle, and then you got a 2.5 hour drive just to get to Moama. So you do. And then we did a couple of club visits while we were down there, because we actually went down with Max and another club just to have a look around. We went to Club Barham, where the World Championship is going to be later in the year.
Yep.
Seeing what they did, because they've got a double roof, but they built it in 2 stages. So we just went and have a look at that with Max, and even that was an hour to get there. And I'm telling you now, we could have walked out the front of our accommodation. It was about an 80 to 90 kilometer trip. If you could fire an arrow that distance, right? That's how straight the road was. You would have hit Club Barn from the front of it. Oh, mate, it's unbelievable. And I don't know what's going on down in Victoria, but I tell you what, we didn't go past any turf farms. It was just yellow, and I didn't see any green grass other than the bowling greens at Moama. I mean, it is just dried and flat. Like, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to offend a few people here because I do believe the earth is not flat. And I could see the curvature of the earth because the land of Victoria was just that flat. Mate, it was insane. But, mate, yeah, BPL, they put on a really good show. Well done to Kevin Anderson and that, and obviously Andrew Howe that sets it up from Bulls Australia. They're on a really, really good show. We went down, we got there on the Wednesday, then we were there for the Thursday night. Had a good chat to Big Kev, and he rocked out with 200 Moama scarves. Did you see that?
I did see a post.
Yeah, but he would bring one home with me. So it was with 200 Moama scarves, and the only downside was he played "You Never Walk Alone," which, as you know, is a Liverpool song.
Yeah,
so we're not too fan of that. But now they put on a really good show, and he's definitely getting the Scottish feel down there. Some of the shirts he was wearing from Moama had a bit of tartan in them.
Oh yeah,
they're good on him. But mate, the atmosphere was brilliant. We had a really good time, really good chat with a lot of people. Mate, I was pleasantly surprised with the amount of people that came up and actually knew who I was through the podcast.
No way.
So they did, mate. So there was quite a few people wanted a conversation, but we'll go into the details of that conversation in a little bit.
Yeah.
But mate, great show, and yeah, obviously Geelong, the real Jets, Geelong, they had a record breaking BPL. Unfortunately, just fell over at the last hurdle with some top performances from Nicky Brett in the final for Helensville. And Helensville came from the clouds to win it. They had to win their last two games to make it into the playoffs, and then come through just to make it into the top five, and then just came through and knocked everyone out on the way through, including Gaza and Melbourne Pulse, who only just went down to Geelong in a tiebreak too. Like, that was some final that one was as well. But yeah, I mean, and I think this is how good we were going, man. I didn't research this, I meant to, but I'm pretty sure those two clubs in the grand final were bottom of the table, or very close to the bottom of the table last time around.
I think
you're right. Flipped it.
I think you're right. Definitely with the Gold Coast Hawks, they were. I think they were down near the bottom, like the last BPL. So it just goes to show you the strength and depth in teams, and you just get one of those teams that are performing really well over a few days, and it doesn't really matter, like form wise. Just on the day, and teams come out and beat other teams, and all of a sudden you're in the finals and a few games away from winning it. But I've seen a little bit of highlights on YouTube, and as always, there seems to be a great atmosphere around the club, around the games, around the broadcasting, all the peripherals around the outside, commentary from ex-players and players that are still playing. And yeah, I thought really, really good. And it definitely is a benchmark, like world-class tournament, and it is a benchmark. And it shows that the likes of Paul Foster and that's coming over here to play in it. And
how good was he?
The English guys, and Paul Foster, unbelievable.
He really showed. Like, I'm sure he was disappointed last time around, like first time out with the Geelong Jets. They said during the commentary it was his second BPL, but I'm assuming they meant with Geelong, like the second BPL with Geelong, because I'm sure he was out before for at least one with Brisbane. But I'll have to go back again. Good research, DJ. Go back and look it up before you actually talk about it. But I'm semi-confident that he's been out here and played before. But, mate, he burned, and him and Aaron Wilson, my goodness, what a combination that was. And but both ways as well, like both of them leading, both of them skipping. But they settled on obviously Paul skipping towards the end and Aaron leading up for him. It isn't too bad to have a back-to-back Commonwealth Games singles when they're leading up for you.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Lee coming off the bench and just doing her thing. So they actually increased the amount of bowls that had to be played by the subs this time. So it used to be 9 bowls, which is 3 ends. Now they got to play the 4, which is almost a full set out of it. So
yeah,
gets everyone in the game that little bit more too, makes it a bit interesting. But mate, great run tournament. So it was we didn't get, like I said, we did a couple of club visits while we were down there too. Unfortunately, it wasn't all pleasure. There was business involved. So I didn't get over during the day to see how that goes, just with everybody running all at one time. But I mean, the live streams are there for everyone to watch too, and yeah, quite a lot of you always wanted to see the tactic of in the tiebreak, mad up, Jack in the pit, and there was quite a lot more of it this time around.
Really?
There was a lot more of it. It started with Dawn Heyman in the Sydney Derby on the live stream. She absolutely binned it and sat on top of it. But even then, Gary had one against him at one point on the TV ring one night we were there, and he drew to the lip to win his game. But yeah, always good to catch up with guys at too. But he's looking well too. Did you see him?
He's definitely slimmed down a bit, eh? He's looking really well.
It's unbelievable. So that's unbelievable. He's done well, and he's looking well, looking after himself. He's pretty happy off the grade. He's happy with the new job. So all the best to him, mate. And yeah, just good to catch up with the likes of Turles. And that was the first I'd seen Turles since we'd done the interview with him, mate. So I gave him his little gift pack he sent me down with. And
I did send a few practice targets on your way and for a few of the players. So yeah, glad to see you.
We'll get a few more out around the place too. So hopefully they'll do a bit of publicity for you too, mate, and help you along that road to being a multi-millionaire through lawn bowls.
Please,
you'll be the first ever. So good luck to you. But yeah, great trip away, mate. Yeah, we've held this off enough. No, we haven't. We'll not go into it yet, but we'll go into as we've been talking about recently, mate. We've been quite interested in the Queensland Premier League. Yeah, and Dale McWhinney Shillington reached out to you, tournament director.
Yeah,
he's got sent a couple of snippets of the show. He's not a dedicated listener yet, but he will be. But he's heard a couple of snippets. He's reached out to touch base with you about coming on and talking to us. So, mate, he came on and had a quick chat to us. It was good to talk to Dale, wasn't it?
Yeah, like he did. He sent me a message and said that somebody had sent him a clip of one of the episode where you were obviously fanboy of Queensland Premier League, and that came across. Yeah, he got sent that. He just reached out to me and said, "Oh, can I come on the show, boys? Just and give you a bit more background info on Queensland Premier League." And obviously, because we're based in New South Wales, we don't talk extensively about other states. It's heavily focused on New South Wales, so we thought it'd be a good idea to get him on and have a bit of a chat and see his thoughts on Queensland Premier League and the recent announcements by Bulls New South Wales.
Yeah, we touched on that, and we'll get into that a bit more in a little bit, mate. We'll just keep kicking that down the road for a little bit till I get my courage up to talk about it. But yeah, we had a few technical difficulties with Dale too. He doesn't seem to be red hot on the bowling green, mate, but he doesn't seem to be too red hot on a computer, does he?
No, I think maybe the broadband's a bit slow up there in Queensland. What do you think?
I don't know. He could not get that microphone working, so we ended up having to record it via a messenger video call into my microphone with you listening. So hopefully, folks, it turns out well. We are very appreciative of Dale coming on to talk about his role with with the Queensland Premier League and how it operates up there. Very interesting to know that it's not actually run by the main governing body. The clubs run it themselves, and everyone aspires to be in it, but it's still a good competition, as Dale's going to talk about here, running for 25 years plus. So everyone, Dale McWhinney Shillington of the Queensland Premier League and Burleigh Heads. All right, folks, got an interview here with Dale McWhinney Shillington. Dale, your title with Queensland Premier League is Tournament Director?
Yes, I am Tournament Director.
Is that just a fancy way of saying I put the scores in, or what's the go there? Yeah, I can only imagine how hard that can be. I know what Bowls Link's like in New South Wales at the minute. So, mate, first of all, thanks for coming on. It's probably a pretty good time to get you on, especially with what's happened in New South Wales recently, which I'm sure you're pretty much aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. What's going down?
More about that later. But, mate, Queensland Premier League, me and Simon's taking a bit of an interest in it this year. Basically, we're doing the podcast. Can you give us a rundown just on a bit of a history of it? How long's it been going, et cetera, et cetera?
This is the 26th year. It's been pretty much all the best bowls in Queensland for that last quarter century. There's been numerous Australian champions going through. Really, it's the pinnacle event for clubs, and so if you're a high level club and you're trying to build your club, the goal is to get to Premier League. Winning a Premier League title is the biggest thing you can do as a club for us here in Queensland.
Yeah, nice. So the thing is, but Bulls Queensland doesn't run that event, is that right, Dale?
No, it doesn't. So it's a separate organisation.
Yep.
The committee is completely separate. So we try our best to work in with Bowls Queensland, and Bowls Queensland try their best to work in with us.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The next question was going to be then, so when it comes to calendar organisation, Bowls Queensland obviously set the calendar for the whole state. They try to leave a block free for you guys to run Premier League?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always the odd one or two things, but they're never the majors.
Yep.
And most of the time it always runs extremely smoothly.
Yeah, well, Simon, I know you're listening in, mate. That's interesting to see two organisations in Bowls working side by side, isn't it? Doesn't happen too often. But, yeah, mate, good. So, Burleigh Heads is where you're at now, yep?
Yes, I'm at Burleigh Heads. I've been there for close to 2 years now.
So, yeah, mate, you're running second at the minute, just behind Pine Rivers on Countback, by the looks of it.
Yes, yeah. They got pipped last week, Paradise Point. We got pipped to Capalaba the week before, so good to still be up the top. Yeah, we did sort of blunder one game. Yeah, still pretty stoked for the season. How it's going.
It's pretty tight competition, all right. I mean, I was having a look at Helensville's results in particular. They've had 3 games out of their 6 have been decided by a shot.
Yeah. I mean, have a look at Tweed, for example. Corey Wedlock, Gary Kelly, Wayne Turley, Cameron Kirko, Chloe Stewart. They're ninth at the moment. That's going to change around.
I don't think there's much really else to ask. Like I said, it's going pretty well out there for you in Pine Rivers. Mate, what's the expectations of the club then? Obviously, you just want to try and win it. Do you think it's a realistic possibility, or you had a good result there last week against Broadbeach?
Yeah, it was a very sweet beat in Broady, I must say. They beat us in the final last year, so we wanted that one back. Yeah, moving forward, I think it's winning year for us. We're not keen on settling for third place. We've had 5 years in the competition, and we've won once and always in the top 3. So we'd like to get another notch under the belt. Sort of do the Broadbeach in a way where they keep on winning year after year. And prior to that, Helensvale won. I don't know if this is true, but somewhere around 8 years in a row or something.
Wowie.
So, or at least thereabouts. It might have been out 1 year, but to get to something like that would be the goal.
Yeah, good. I was down at the BPL last week, mate. I was talking to one of the presidents of the clubs that plays in the Premier League, and they were saying, so you don't actually have, is it true then you don't actually have like a marquee rule as such? You can pull players from wherever suits as long as they're willing and able to play. Is that how it works, mate? Or what's the actual cutoff?
It's Queensland zone, but because we're so close to the border, a lot of the strengths of the clubs are close to the border. We do like a zone 1 region, so draw like a line. So if they're within a zone 1 or anywhere in Queensland, there's a marquee.
Right.
That's not their main club. So you could go to
Yep.
Yeah,
right. Yep.
If they're outside that zone, they're considered as a marquee, and you can have a limited amount of marquees, but you're only allowed 2 players.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Yep, that does. That's similar rules to what we have in New South Wales with Platinum. So you're allowed 2 marquees per game, but you can have as many as you want throughout the season. But as you said, only 2 can play. Do they have to play so many games to qualify for final series?
Yes, so you have to play at minimum 5 rounds.
5 rounds
to qualify for finals.
Right. Very good, mate. Very good. But yeah, man, as tournament director, then without your Burley hat on, you're pretty happy how the competition's going this year.
Yeah. What I say is, outside of the Burley thing, as much as I love the club and the competition for the club, just being a part of Premier League this year is being exciting. Being able to help it progress rather than just being a player that's been in the competition year after year. Just being able to do something for it is my partner's does the marketing and the website for Premier League Queensland. So just to see, assistance with that, she's done a great job building that website and just being around and being able to put advice in. It was I think this would be a place to see. And little feedbacks I got to send a snippet of your show.
Yeah.
Of what you're saying about the website coming up. So it was that's what you want to hear. When you're trying to help and, when you got Tells as your chairman, knowing almost everything about the game.
Yeah.
That definitely leads you in that direction, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, that's good to hear that you were sent that snippet. It's a bit of an ego dent for the two of us, knowing that you haven't been actually listening and didn't even know that it existed until that point. But yeah, you've got time to catch up, man. I'll let you. Wow, Wales! Wow, wowee!
This is just what I was told.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't be poking the bear too much after the technical difficulties you had trying to lead up to this conversation. I'll have to throw that into the podcast and I'll let everybody know. Did you get permission off your mum and dad to have this conversation, Dale? You can't see Simon at the minute, but he's crying, laughing at the minute. A bit of context, folks. It's 7:40 in the evening. We started this conversation at 7 o'clock. It took us that long to get Dale to actually talk. But man, no, I really appreciate your time coming on. It's good to hear. Like I said, we've taken a bit more of an interest in it this year. We're not good enough to get a phone call to come and play, but at least we can take an interest and watch a game here or there. Mate, I want to ask you one last thing before we go, because I will be talking about it this week. Platinum Pennant in New South Wales. I've seen they made a pretty big announcement in the calendar last week as tournament director or sitting on the board, whatever you call it, on the Queensland Premier League. Were you consulted at all about those dates being changed?
Man, I knew nothing about it. I think most people knew nothing about it other than the media release on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, the large amount of people come to the attack of it. Really, I was like, I can't really fathom it. I don't understand why that decision's made. I understand decisions are made with boards and they have reasons behind it. I can't personally understand it. This game has been progressing quite a lot over let's say, forever. Let's say the last 5 to 10 years, there's being able to actually make a small aim out of this game.
Yeah.
Progress through, be able to fly around the country, almost be able to play this game full, probably still have a job somewhere within a bowls club. But you can make a living out of lawn bowls at this point. And when you've got Bowls Queensland or Queensland Premier League and Bowls New South Wales, I'm not going to say at war, but arguably two of the biggest competitions in the world for when you're looking at global franchises. It doesn't make sense why they should be conflicting dates. Like I also understand, like Victoria Pennant, they have a really long season, right? If I'm not mistaken, so I understand there's going to be some sort of clash there. Yeah. But when Platinum Pennant, it doesn't go for that long. Queensland Premier League, it doesn't go for that long. I don't see why there isn't enough room in the calendar to separate.
100%. Well, like I said, I'm going to go into that a bit deeper with Simon once we kick you off the call. But like I said, really do appreciate your time. It was good of you to reach out to us once you'd heard the show and said you're happy to come on and have a chat with us. So good insight into Queensland Premier League, mate, and what's going on up there, and all the best to you and Burley Heads in your endeavours to try and win. I think looking at it, Tweed Head might need a bit of help, but we might have to contact Turles about that. Good on you, mate. That's Dale McWhinney Shillington, folks. So thanks very much, Dale. And maybe we might hear from you later on in the season once we get sort of to the conclusion.
Beautiful. Thanks very much for having me, boys. I was pretty excited to come on. I'm glad to get to have this chat.
Okay, that was Dale from Queensland Premier League. Good insight there into the goings on of that tournament. Interesting that it's not run by Bowls Queensland, that it's actually a separate entity run by a handful of players that put their hand up to run that competition, and it's run in conjunction with Bowls Queensland. They actually work together. They put the show on and nothing clashes with it and things like that. But DJ, this week I think the internet was nearly broke. I think your ear was nearly talked off, your phone was red hot, and you had a queue of people wanting to come on this podcast and voice their opinion. What was it that created that storm?
Well, first of all, I give them a rap, which was new, on unmarked territory. That, but they quickly took that away from us, didn't they?
They certainly did. They shot themselves out of it, really, with us.
With an announcement of the remainder of the conditions of play and the announcement of the calendar for the 25-26 bowl season.
This is Bowls New South Wales.
Bowls New South Wales. It's probably lucky for me that we have gone to a fortnightly podcast, because you suffered that phone call when I first actually sat down and tried to digest everything, and you know how passionate I was.
Yeah, definitely. Passionate was it was a good word to use, yeah.
So the only good thing is then I've had a bit of time to digest this, put the administrator hat back on, look at it from all angles. But you're right, mate. Like the amount of people I spoke to at BPL and the amount of people that text me out of the blue, just like, have you seen this, blah, blah, blah. And this is before I'd even had the chance to sit down and read it. There's quite a lot to talk about in it. There is quite a lot to talk about. How they've managed to create a 14-month bowling season in a 12-month year. Mate, we'll not get started. Like, and the reason's got to be because there's too many events. Well, cull something. I'm sorry, lady listeners. Your state carnival is not that important compared to the rest of the stuff. All right, it's just not. All right, that's one event can be looked at. Okay, but anyway, we'll move on. The biggest talking point coming from the calendar and what really got everyone stirred up, mate, was obviously Platinum Pennant being moved to February. Now, for those that aren't maybe familiar with what goes on in other states or why that is such a talking point, it is because our elite competition, the Platinum Pennant, now clashes with the elite competition in Queensland, the Queensland Premier League, and the elite competition in Victoria, the Victorian Metro Pennant, Metro Weekend Pennant.
Yeah.
Where to start, mate? Like, first of all, disclosure. Okay, these thoughts and opinions are very much mine. Okay, and I don't want this coming back to bite my club in the backside.
Yeah,
because we have put an expression of interest in the last 24 hours to be included in Platinum Pennant in this season that we're talking about. And if we're lucky enough to be in it, we will do our best to play in whatever format they put out, because it is the elite competition in New South Wales. We are a New South Wales club. We want to play at that level. We've put in for it. It is what it is. At the end of the day, they set the rules and we have to follow it.
Yep.
However, with my podcaster hat on and wanting to make content.
Well, I think before you go, DJ, I think your comments or your opinions, it's just a collective of what we've been hearing out there on the bowling greens and in the clubs, from players, from administrators. This is what is being talked about out there, and we just want to put that out there so that everyone can hear all that's being said about this topic, because this is a huge thing for our sport in Australia.
Good point. So before I get into my honest opinions on it, and they are mine, because I do make sure I listen to everyone, mate, and I've spoke to you about it, and I've sat here. I had a day off today, and I've pretty much sat here all day just thinking about how to do this. I sat down with a laptop ready to type up some notes, and I just thought there's no point. I'm just going to have to wing this and just go basically off the cuff how I'm feeling. It's probably the best way to deliver it. The main talking points obviously is there's so many players, elite players. Now, I'm not just talking me and you, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking guys that bowl full-time in New South Wales, or bowl full-time in Victoria, or bowl full-time in Queensland, that are then offered the opportunity to play in these elite competitions by the clubs because they want to promote it better and they want to have the best of the best playing for them. I'll use an example because he just accepted my friend request recently. Ali Forsyth, right? Ali is in Clayton, plays for the Clayton club. He's come up to play Platinum Pennant for a club down the road here. Obviously, they paid him a lot, because why else would you go there? But he also has marqueed up in Queensland for Windsor. Okay, so he's played in the 3 competitions. Now, Ali's good enough to do that. People want him to do that. Ali should be given that opportunity to go and do that. And obviously, his employers allow him to do that. That's just one example. But then look at it the other way. You've got Omar, obviously comes down and plays for Marylands, and he has played for Deer Park in the past and Victoria. Yeah, all right. Matty Boust from Rima Terrace, flying down playing for Deer Park in Victoria, flying up to Queensland playing for, I think it's Windsor. I could be wrong. Could be one of the other ones. But anyway, he's up there. All right. There's a multitude of players that this affects. Okay. Now, I understand the argument of people saying this should be for their clubs and it should be for club members. All right. It doesn't work that way, man. All right. These are not regular pennant competitions. These are the elite competitions. These are what our states want to use to promote the game of bowls to the general public. Okay. To the masses. To do that, all right, I would much rather watch Aaron Wilson throw a ball down, or Aaron Sheriff throw a ball down for Clubmate of the City than DJ Dilworth.
Yep.
Okay? If we're on the live stream and we're talking honestly, that's what you want to see, alrighty? If you have that opportunity to have them in that competition, you have to have them there, okay? So that debunked that argument straight away. People whinging that, they're only upset because, they can't get their money out of it. Well, these guys are making a living out of it. If they're good enough to do it, let them do it. Honestly, we said this a few podcasts ago. I don't give a stuff how much money they're making. All right? I don't give a stuff if they're declaring it. That's their business. The reason they're getting that is because the clubs want to promote their club, to promote the sport, and they want to have the best of the best playing for them. Yeah. I don't think these people that are whinging about it they've never been to one of these clubs where the elite players are brought up. Like, speaking to Gary in detail there the other week, Gary flies all over the place. He's been to Tasmania this year. He's been to Melbourne. He spent 2 weeks, I think, flying between Queensland, Melbourne, and Tasmania. But the amount of people that brings into the club because him and Corey are there.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. It's real publicity for their clubs to have those people there, so you should want them there, okay? With what Bowls New South Wales have done, they have prevented that from happening realistically, because who's going to want a marquee in Queensland or Melbourne if they can't play in the final series? Which is realistically when Queensland's affected a little bit more, I think, because their finals go right up to the end of March. So that wipes them out for a lot of season, I think. Mm-hmm. Victoria as well, that's right into the business end of their competition, all right? So, mate, outside looking in, right, when I first seen it, I just thought, that is just Bowls New South Wales just going flex, really? Just look at us. We'll do what we want to do. You guys conform. We're the best of the best. Alrighty? You want to play, you play in our competition, you don't play in the others. Now, that, to an extent, fair enough, all right? If I'm being honest, if I'm ranking the competitions, I'm going Platinum Pennant, I'm going Queensland, I'm going Victoria, in that order. Okay? I look at the New South Wales Blues team. I know they've been flown in from all over the place, but that's because the clubs are willing to have them there. We're the strongest state bowling-wise. We are. Okay? We've got the best players there. There's less marquees coming into our competition because the clubs are already strong. All right, in my honest opinion. Who won last year? Broadbeach won last year up Queensland, and Cabramatta won down here. In New South Wales, Cabramatta beat Broadbeach. I'm sorry, Aaron Sheriff. I'm sorry, Cabramatta beat Broadbeach. Okay, man for man, they beat them. But I looked at her and I got pretty angry about it, mate. I just thought, like I said, it looked from the outside looking in, it just looked like pure arrogance from New South Wales, which they've been accused of in the past. Mm-hmm. But then when I sat there and thought about it, there's new people in the organisation. I don't believe they're that way inclined. I do think, and I'd be confident saying they believe they've got the best product. And they believe they can put it on that time of year. From what I'm hearing from, obviously talking to Dale there recently, but I was in Victoria pretty much, so I had a conversation with quite a lot of people in Victoria. Yeah. The lack of communication is the problem here. Like, they knew nothing of this until the calendar came out.
Just like this. Yeah.
Spoke to some of the clubs that are involved. They knew nothing about it till the calendar came out, but there was talk on the inside of the season being shifted because the players preferred it to be moved elsewhere. Now, I don't think February was discussed.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm confident February wasn't discussed. The other thing is, again, from my experience of being on the inside, I would say confidently, but without knowing for definite, this is not a state match committee decision. This is an office decision.
Interesting.
And a few people have got their heads around the table and gone, this is what we're going to do. And the state match committee have basically got to go with it. I can't say that for definite. And you know, I've got friends on the match committee. You know that I've got friends in the office. And I have spoken to the office a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but I've not really broached this subject because I'm not here to get anyone else in trouble. I'm here to give what I think is my opinion. And hopefully you agree.
Yeah.
That's why I see him. I've spoke to people on the ground. I've spoke to people in Victoria. I've spoke to people in Queensland. It still comes down to me just turn around and go, what do I think? And from the outside looking in at the time, it definitely looked like New South Wales have just gone flex. I don't think they've done it that arrogantly and deliberately, though. I think they do believe they got their best product. I think they do think that, the other organisations should follow us, all right? They should do what we want.
Yeah.
But, the lack of communication was there. Looking at, I've tried to have a quick look at how the competitions were run, which is probably a good reason that Dale came on too. So Dale says, right, 25 years, 26 years, that's been running. Talking to Victoria, Metro Pennant has been running for 40 odd years and never changed.
Yeah.
It's changed its name in like the mid 90s and it's been the same ever since, and they've run that time of year. Okay. So that's going to be a hard one to change. But again, outside looking in, and some of the Bulls Victoria promotions and things, they do seem to be a very progressive state. Like, in all honesty, like, they do very, very well out of barefoot. They do very, very well out of jack attack and stuff from what you see. Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of the clubs generate their income, because I don't believe they've got the pokey machine revenue that the rest of us get.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they have to, but the clubs are still very successful. There's roofs going up everywhere down there. So there is. Yeah. And they can afford to fly these marquee players in to play for the club, because they're not doing it for free.
Yeah.
We know that. They're not doing it for free, but if they can earn it, good luck. If, like I said, Tweed Head's in dire straits. I mean, if they ring us up and offer us money to go play for them, we're going to go do it.
Absolutely.
Especially you being a major singles champion. It's such a hard one, mate. Like I said, I cannot get my head around it. I can't get my head around why they've gone and done this. I can't, other than, we think we're good. But without talking to the other states and to just go and do it, the Platinum Pennants 1 year old. Like I said to you in the other podcast, like it was such a successful year. My gripe 2 weeks ago was that they haven't promoted it. We haven't even seen a calendar yet. Now, word on the street is the calendar will be out probably before this podcast comes out.
Okay.
So it is coming, but it's 1 year old. And now what they've done is they haven't promoted it off the back of last year. And now they've gone and done this and just created a negative atmosphere around it. I mean, there's talk of boycotts and there's talks of clubs breaking away, and I don't think that benefits anyone. Like, realistically, as I said to you, like, I disagree with it, but we've still put an expression of interest in after the fact. Like, the expressions of interest are open to the end of this week. I still put it in, regardless of what my thoughts are towards it, because it's the elite competition in New South Wales, like I said, and we want to play in it. Regardless of what it is. Bulls New South Wales said it, we have to play in it. But for the betterment of the game and have the best of the best playing, they need to be talking to the other states. Everyone needs to come together and think about this. But it's not just on New South Wales as well. Like Queensland's going to have a bit of give. Victoria have to have a bit of give. I'm sorry. Like, That's an 18-week competition or something, Simon?
That's pretty.
It starts. I don't know if you've looked at this, mate, but from what I've seen, it starts in October and it runs to the end of March, and they have a 6-week break in between because it's Christmas, so greens go down and stuff. But they play until like the 12th of December, then don't play again until the end of January, right? And they don't play home and away. Or sorry, they do play home and away. They don't play they're the only ones that play home and away. Queensland don't. New South Wales don't.
Yeah,
they don't play double headers.
It's just one game, 1 week.
One game on Saturdays and that's it. And look, they do immense with their live streaming.
Yes.
I was going to say immense with their live streaming. And they promote it very, very well. And I think they've got a lot to offer if they all sit down at the table and nut this out. But then the more I think about it is, mate, I just look and go, what's Bowls Australia doing? Where are they in this? You've got three elite competitions fighting over the same pool of talent. Effectively, they're going to dilute the competitions now because they're all trying to run at the same time of year. Surely they can get together. Like Andrew Howe seems to be a bit of a genius, to be honest with you. Like I've never heard a bad word about competitions Andrew's ran.
Yeah. Other
than a Lawn Bowls Australia whinging the other week about the price of the entry to the Australian Open. Don't get me started there. But I'm not saying I disagree with the price of it. I'm just the whingers. But surely they could get together and go, right, folks, let's just get a calendar and work it out. This is what you're going to do. And at the end of that, what's to stop them from having a competition where the 3 winners get together and play? Well, and then invite someone from another state to play and have a Premier League champion. Now, you might have clashes of players because the marquees are moving around, but they've got to make a choice who they play for. That's a story for another day. But where's Bowls Australia in this? I'm sort of more like, yeah, New South Wales have maybe done the wrong thing. But where's Bowls Australia? Like, why are they not piping up going, well, hang on, folks, sit down. We're the governing body of the country. How about you do this, and this, and we all try to play the same format? Because that's the other issue, right? I'm diverting again, but Metro Pennants 4 rinks, and the others are 3 rinks. Like, that's a lot to lose for Melbourne, I understand that. That is a lot to lose. Like, they're used to playing that way. There's a lot of people focused on playing that way, and it gives a lot of people exposure, and they're competitive that way. To ask them to drop a rink is a big fallback because there is so many clubs.
Yeah.
So maybe that part doesn't get touched, but it's just caused so much drama that didn't need to be caused. Yeah, I mean, I've spoken enough. I'm going to call you Snorkel because you're breathing for me at the minute. Well, I just chirp on. What do you think? Like, do you disagree with any of that? Do you agree with any of that? Do you want to add to any of that?
Look, from my point of view, like, I'm a player that plays and had played in Platinum Pennants. I'd played in what was previous to Platinum Pennants. You know, Grade 1, New South Wales. Since I first arrived in Australia, that was the competition in New South Wales that everyone wanted to win. When they went to Platinum Pennants and that was coming out, to me, that now becomes the elite competition. Mm-hmm. Kind of downgraded your Grade 1 kind of competition now and all that history that came with that kind of competition. But
yeah, but they stuffed that because they kept the same amount of grades. Don't get me started on that again, man. I'm already on fire at the minute.
I think it's really, really negative for our sport that our states and the 3 biggest states within Australia for bowlers that has 80% of the bowlers that play in those 3 states probably.
Yeah.
That they can't sit down and agree on a calendar and agree on where and when events are going to run. And as you say, I think where's Bowls Australia in this to sort of come in as, you know, the oversight and say, hang on a minute, you guys need to work together for the betterment of our sport. And that's what we talk about on episodes past and all the topics that we bring up, whether it be a club level, player level. We always go back to the betterment of our sport. Like, our numbers are declining, and yet we decide to make decisions that put roadblocks for the betterment of our game. I think Bowls New South Wales, as you say, I've just looked at it from, well, we're going to do what we want to do, and we think we've got a better product. I do think that that's what's happened, that they think, well, we'll just put our competition where we want it, and the players will all come and play in our competition, and it doesn't matter about the rest. Yeah. I think that's been the mentality. But I think that is a detriment to lawn bowls in Australia. And I think that if our state is taking that stance and our state is going down that road of, we don't care about everyone else, we're just doing what we're doing. Imagine if all the clubs decided to take that attitude. Yeah. Imagine if all the clubs decided just to do whatever they want to do, and there was no streamline of events or regions or whatever, our sport would be in complete chaos. And it's really poor, I think, from our state to take that stance instead of working together. When you ask all the clubs to work together at a regional level, you ask all the regions to work together at a state level, we should all be pulling in the same direction. And it just seems that this decision has sort of totally reversed that. And the comments from players and from, administrators that I've read over the week, and as you say, it's put a real negativity on the competition now. And that's all that's going to be talked about now for whenever I go and play against players on the green. We all know each other, and that's what's going to be talked about. Rather than how good this competition, how can we make it better? It'll just be the negativity from what they've decided to do for next year. And that's really going to be really sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I find it hard to believe that they've done this out of malice. Like sticking the middle finger up type of thing at the other states. For the people that are potentially involved in all this, I don't think they're that type of people. But I can't comprehend it. And in all honesty, Simon, I'll put my neck out here and say I will be shocked if those dates stand. If they don't change this, there's no way. They would have knew they were getting backlash. They would have knew, like, every decision they make, they get backlash, all right? So you got to be thick-skinned. And you got to go with what you think's right. Okay, I understand that, and I've pushed for that. This is wrong.
Yeah.
It's wrong. And I don't think the clubs are going to support it. So are they going to turn around to the clubs and go, well, play or don't play? I don't think so. I'd be shocked if those dates stand. I really would. I think they have to make the change, and I think they're sensible enough to realize, all right, we're going to cop this one on the. They did it with the regions. Remember they put the boundaries out and then had to change it. Yeah, because they got a lot of backlash. I guess this is something similar. I think this is more of a. I think this is bigger than what the region thing was just people whinging for the sake of whinging. I thought, like, I was disappointed they went back to the way they went. I think they should have stood firm there. But this one, I don't think it's where you stand firm. I think you got to change it.
Yeah, like, I think you gotta have the input from stakeholders, and I think clearly that hasn't been done because players are stakeholders, clubs are stakeholders. I don't think from the reaction out there, clearly it's something that players and clubs do not want to have, to have this clash. Yeah, maybe some people might say, oh, look, it's an elite thing. It only affects top 5% of the players. But I think you've got to look at it. If you're not at one of those elite clubs that's involved in the top tier in your state, and you're in the lower grades, this affects you as well, because we cannot promote our sport. As you say, DJ, we cannot promote our sport to the general public. We cannot promote the quality of our players, our athletes, professionalism that they go through, that look how talented these players are. We can't showcase that at an elite level. Imagine if some other sports, they weren't showing World Cups or they weren't showing the major events, broadcasting them and showcasing the player skills, you wouldn't follow that sport. So we're not as big as other sports, but we got to take small steps in promoting our sport and promoting our players.
And we're not as big as other sports, but why can't our elite make a living from it? And this is their way to do it. But look at this is the thing, back the money again. Look at the sacrifices then people have to make to do that, but you don't have to do that in cricket. They do it because they travel around and play the T20s and make a squillion. All right? But they're all centrally contracted players.
Yeah.
They take their elite and they centrally contact them. We know who they're considering for Jackaroos at the minute. They're all in squads already. Why can't they be centrally contracted? Then they don't have to worry about traveling around. They can just focus on their clubs. It's the clubs that spend all this money and keeping all these people in the game. So many of these players could walk away and make a living elsewhere if they weren't making the money from the game. I don't like throwing that restriction of trade comment out there because, it is only balls at the end of the day. But if they have that opportunity to make a living, let them. Help them do it. You should be helping them do it, Boulder Straight, because it means it's not coming out of your pocket. It's just, yeah, mate, it was very disappointing to see that, amongst other things, which we'll get into maybe in another episode, because I don't want to drag on too much. Because I can see you looking at your watch about how much I've talked already. But, I mean, it was very disappointing, and I honestly believe it needs to change, and I have confidence that they will change it, but I can't get my head around. I can't actually put myself. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall will that discussion because I cannot put myself in that room and think about how that makes sense. Other than we number one.
I can't see that either, DJ. How on earth that decision? And if it's I haven't got enough room, or there's other events that need to be played at certain dates, or as you say, call other events, get rid of other events. If there's too many events in the calendar, let's get rid of them. And that's something like myself as a player, not only maybe at a regional or state level, definitely at a club level. Think of all the events that I got to play at club level, and it's getting way too much of events that we've got on to play in. If you have a good year, man, you can be playing balls all year on.
Yep.
It's a bit full on, but as you say, for those players that can make a bit of an earn out of it, like, I really feel for them that if they have to make a decision to play in a state rather than playing multiple and lose out on income, yeah, I really feel for them. And I'll definitely be pushing that, and we'll be pushing on this podcast that those dates get changed and they come up with some other alternative to playing exactly when Queensland Premier League are playing their event. Like, to me, it's just stupid.
I'll throw a devil's advocate thing out there, mate. Just sitting here thinking out loud. Can we put some of the blame on the clubs? Look at the look on your face. Right? Hear me out here.
Yeah.
Can we put some of the blame on the clubs? Because have they been forced into this because of the way players are, or the way clubs have to nominate their squads? Because I've been made aware in the last 2 weeks of a club that's taking advantage, or could be seen to be taking advantage. I'm not making accusations. But they have nominated, you guys at Platinum, you superstars have to nominate your 12 players that are going to play, or more, or a bigger squad.
Or a bigger squad, yeah.
And I'm aware of a club that has nominated 12 players.
Yeah.
Knowing that one of those players will not take the green. And what that's enabled them to do then is they're missing one of their players from grade 1 for a couple of weeks in their club. It means they're able to then not nominate this person to play in Platinum and to nominate them to play grade 1. But when Platinum ranks around, they put an appeal in and say, this player's not able to play anymore. We want to bring this person up from grade 1.
Interesting, dude.
So
that's an interesting comment.
See, we're all mate, I love finding a loophole in the COP.
Yeah.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, I reckon a club against us in a lower grade used it the other week because they've got a 1 grade and a 6 grade. And I watched the 6th graders walk into my club on Saturday and I thought, wonder what's going on here. Okay, I'm doing it for the next 2 weeks. My next grade down is missing a couple of players. Instead of pulling up from the bottom, I'm able to put them down from the top.
Yeah.
Okay, the rules are there for that. But I think that's an extreme. That's an extreme one there. And have they been forced into making it earlier because of that nomination?
That's an interesting comment, DJ, but yeah, like...
But around that too, mate, I don't care if you guys play at the same time of year as normal pennants, but you need to play at different times. Okay, so if regular pennants is starting at 1 o'clock, whatever your live stream game is, at least needs to be a morning game or an evening game, so that the people that play the game, the shareholders, get a chance to watch that game. Potentially needs to be all of them, so that, you know, when they are playing against Belrose, they're not the live stream game, but when they're playing at home and they've got 4 pennant sides at home that day.
Yeah.
You want them to finish. Not only that, your members are going to stay back and watch your Platinum team, okay, at the venue. The away teams might stay and watch for a bit. We need to have the ability for our bowlers to go and watch it and to get interested in it again. So I don't mind it playing at the same time at pennants. The finals need to be different. Finals need to be standalone, but the timings all need to be different too. First grade doesn't play at the same time as reserve grade in the NRL.
No, that's correct. Yeah.
So why can't we do something like that in bowls?
What about a Friday night games and your pennants is on a Saturday and then Platinum has Sunday games? You know,
exactly.
Can we make that
enable people to attend the games or watch the live stream? But you can't play it at 1 o'clock when the rest of us are playing at 1 o'clock.
No.
Us regular human beings, not you elite. Like I said, maybe the clubs had a bit to do with this. Like I said, I'm well aware the clubs did ask for a change.
I don't think they wanted it in February.
I know they did. It's because I've spoken to a couple, and this is not the change they were after.
No,
but I I'll be disappointed if they don't sit back and look at this and listen to the people and actually go. And you'll have to listen to all the comments. Like some of the comments on Facebook didn't make any sense, but what got me is when the likes of Mark Casey's commenting and when the likes of Wayne Turley's commenting. That's when you sit back and you go, you actually listen to those people.
Yeah, like the people that have been there, done it. They've been in the sport a long time. They've played at the very top echelons of our sport. They've been at every kind of, I don't know, role within a club. They've been there, done it, and they understand how our sport ticks. Yeah. And to hear them coming out with comments like that I've seen, that says everything, and that's really strong to get, players like that and of that stature to come out and voice their opinion. That's obviously it's hit a real nerve with a lot of players, and obviously they're probably voicing what they're hearing from players. So to hear that from those guys, that's definitely speaks volumes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a bit of confidence in the people in the organisation. I think this will be changed. I really do. They can't leave it the way it is. It's such a detriment to the sport as a whole. They New South Wales suffer a lot less than the other states. I honestly believe that. A lot of the states' marquees come from New South Wales. Understand that, but yeah, like there's still a lot of the marquees in New South Wales come from the other states too that don't get that opportunity to do that.
Look, as a player playing Platinum Pennants, and I'm not an elite player that flies around and plays in different leagues, I want to play against the best players in our country in Platinum Pennants.
Yeah,
and I want if there's certain guys from Queensland, Victoria, WA, wherever they're from, I want them to come and play in Platinum Pennants so I can play against them. And I can say that I compete in our country's best competition. So therefore, I want the whole pool from the whole country to be able to play in Platinum Pennants in New South Wales. Doing this doesn't allow that to happen. No.
Do you want another whinge?
Go for it.
COP. See pairs changes?
No.
18N pairs, Simon. 2021.
18N pairs?
The reasons being that some areas cannot get 2 games in on a day when they're playing 21 ends.
Please.
No. To 18 ends, not only that, mate, if you're in a region that decides then to play 3 games in a day because they're playing sectional play, 12 ends they're allowed to play.
So you can play, this is state pairs we're talking about.
State pairs, you can play, state walking pairs, whatever you want to call it, 2-2-2-2. You potentially could go in on a Saturday and be told, right, you wouldn't walk in on the Saturday, but you would know going in on the Saturday that you're in a section of 3 or 4 and you got to play 3 games in a day of 12 ends to win. Like, that just cuts the game in half. There's so much happens in the back half of that game. It changes the game. Now we've gone from, it's nearly 3 bowl, isn't it 3 bowl pairs or something when they get the Australian Championship level?
Yeah.
And then now they're going to go play, and now they're going to say, no, we're going to play 12 ends of 4 bowls, but if you win that, you're going, oh, man, no. I don't like it. Look, pairs takes a long time, and I know that the figures are there, all right? But there's got to be other ways to speed the game up than cutting ends.
Stop rolling jacks. That's a good one.
Yeah, well, that cuts it out straight away, doesn't it? There's got to be other ways to do it. But my goodness, to say that one hurt me as well. Unfortunately, like, there's justification behind it, but you got to ignore that justification. Like, if people don't have, not all clubs have lights to be able to finish in the dark. If you're starting at 9 o'clock and you're not done with 2 games, there's something else. You're only meant to have a half hour between the games. What is going on? And then I'll give you another one, mate. So the mixed pairs, state mixed pairs, state over 40s, have gone from 18 ends to 17 ends, and the rookies have gone from 12 ends to 11 ends. Now they're all 3 bowl pairs.
Okay. But
why is that? Why is that, I hear you say?
Yeah.
Because, Simon, there's a 1-end roll-up before every game, which means that if you start at the other end and you play an odd number of ends, you're going to finish at the end that your bag was, which, again, is going to speed up the day.
Oh, please. How long does it take to pick your bowls up and walk down to the other end? 20 seconds to walk down to the other end?
Too long.
It's too long. Come on, please. But yet, we make decisions like that, but then we go and just plonk our elite tournament at the same time as other states. Any wonder I've got no air, DJ?
Mate, I'm following you. So, but that's a couple of ones. I've kept a few others for another one, mate. I went through and dissected the reasons behind the COP and looked at the calendar. Did I mention before, mate? Our season's 12 months long, but our calendar's 14.
Yeah, so they've got events on in the following year's calendar for the previous year. So if you're playing in an event that's 25, 26, you might actually be playing that event that's
We're going to sit
26,
down.
27 year.
We're going to sit down in our region and come up with a calendar. It's very soon. We might put our regional pairs in July, okay? And the winner of that will play next July. Single gender pennant has been moved again. It's not allowed to start before the 1st of February. So you got platinum pennant, single gender men's pennant, single gender women's pennant, and open pennant, all starting in February.
Man, I did see a few comments about the single gender pennant being
It's
moved.
gone midweek too. They've actually said it's going midweek. You can still apply to play weekends or other times if you want, but it's midweek.
Yeah, I did see that it's gone midweek, and I did see a fair few comments about it going midweek, that how are we supposed to cater for people that are working, and well,
I'll answer that one. You play on the weekend then.
yeah.
I want to play bowls all the time. You can't play bowls all the time. All right? That's what our elite are meant to do, but we're stopping them from doing that too, aren't we? But anyway, you can't play bowls all the time. You got to work for a living, okay?
Yep.
So if you're a midweek worker, you can play on the weekend.
Yep.
If you're a weekend or a shift worker, you can play the midweek, okay? And the midweek is single gender, so the guys that don't want to play with women can play just with the guys, and the women that don't want to play with men can play with the women. And there's a lot of bad blood out there saying that the only reason single gender is still there is because the men don't want to play with the women. I think you will find that a lot of that push comes from the other side, all right? Which I understand it, but at the same time, I don't see why there's 4 pennant competitions.
No, I don't agree with that.
Platinum's the elite one, all right? Let's leave that aside. We've still got 3 pennant competitions. Too many grades on a Saturday. Yeah, well, we've done this. We did this 12 months ago.
Hang on, previous episodes on this.
Yeah, we still haven't cut that back, but that's got to change too. And yeah, Platinum's got to move. Thoughts, man, as a Platinum player, there's going to be 2 dropping out this year, I think. There's promotion relegation this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be. Yeah, I think well, there's definitely, it's in the COP that there's going to be the ability to drop teams out. So whether that be the bottom 2 or 3, whatever they decide, and then they're going to put a couple in. Don't know if it's going to be a playoff for that or whether they're just going to appoint it, but there'll be changes in that.
I think that's a pretty good change. That I'd like to see, new teams coming in to the tournament, and yeah, if you're finishing bottom, then it maybe gives clubs a little more emphasis to not finish bottom. So games that are the back end of the tournament that you think might be dead rubbers, all of a sudden might be pretty important that you're not in the competition next year. So I'm pretty keen for that.
Honest question.
We get a few fresh clubs. Yeah.
Honest question. I'm not having to go here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys finish second last year?
Can't remember.
I know. You didn't have a good season, right? By your lofty standards.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We didn't finish. We didn't finish. I think it was maybe 3rd or 4th from the bottom.
Right. So bottom 2 place teams last year were Belrose and can't remember who the other one was.
Just have a look at their website. That'll still have last year's results on there, DJ.
Oh, there's a slight dig there. All right. But anyway, the bottom 2 sides last year, okay, they're still in it this year. Let's say they've recruited pretty well. They have a good year. And suddenly Tarrant Point and Raymond Terrace finish in the bottom 2. Is that fair that they have to drop out when the other one's got a second bite? Like, is that going to cause issue? I think it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. Like, I think the way they did it was right. You needed to have commitment for 2 years to get the competition up and running. And in the 3rd year, you can start bringing other teams in. And I've said to you before, again, on one of the other episodes, for anyone that's new listening, go back and listen to them all, that I like the Queensland idea of having a playoff. And you could do that. If they're playing at the same time of year as normal pennants, you could do that. You could have 4 teams playing off for 2 spots. And the 2 that miss out know they're going to play number 1. The only thing is they'll miss out on many marquees, but I think that playoff should be without marquees and only players from your club, and then you can recruit after that. I don't think the arrogance level is there enough for them to turn around and still dig their heels in on this and say no. Like, if the clubs are pushing back enough and the players are pushing back enough, it's got to be looked at. Like, they're the ones that are delivering the product at the end of the day. The organisation throws the product out there. These are the guys that are delivering it. I said that last year too. Like, they owed an absolute debt of gratitude to those 2 teams that played in the final last year because of the game that went on. The competition doesn't happen without them, so they got to listen. So I think we'll see a change. I do think we'll see a change. I hope we see a change, but I do think we will.
I hope we do. And yeah, if we can help that in any way possible with this podcast and getting people on that bandwagon to try and get that changed and for the betterment of our sport, not just our state, not just our club, not for ourselves, but for the betterment of our sport as a whole in this country.
Yeah. Speaking of betterment of the sport.
Yep.
I think we'll finish off with a positive note. The Facebook post. You know the one I'm talking about, Bulls Tasmania.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts on that?
So, I seen a post they said about
Message to all players of the sport of bowls. Not even just there. But yeah, there's basically been abusive and derogatory comments to those using bowling arms.
Shocking.
What do you think now?
I think, yeah, they came out and they said that people were being called cheat sticks and you need to have a doctor's clearance and a medical certificate to use one of these. I think that's absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
If we are going to start asking people for medical certificates to use a bowling arm, I think you need to catch yourself on. If you're a club that's going to go down that route or you're a player that's asking for that, I think you need to have a good look at yourself because we are putting roadblocks up for people to play our game. And that is not what we need.
No.
Especially people who use bowling arms. It's not necessarily older people as well, DJ. We might have people that have some sort of physical limitation or guys that are middle-aged that have something that they can't bend on and deliver a bowl. So for us to put roadblocks for people coming in to play our sport, I think is absolutely ridiculous.
100%, man. I reckon I'll be using one in a couple of years. Like, if we keep this podcast going, I have to keep carrying you. My back's just going to go.
But fair play to both Tasmania. I thought their communications and what they did and posted, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I think what they posted and the way they worded it was fantastic. So hats off to both Tasmania, really.
It was very, very good. And something, like I said, we implemented that last year at our season launch too. You know, we had a bit of a rebrand, a relaunch, and that's something that I stood up in front of our whole population and said, like, we need to stop. Like, I used it a lot of times, the cheat and stick comment. I'll say mine was always tongue-in-cheek, always to a couple of our players because I knew it stirred them up, and you know what I'm like. I stood up and said, we need to change that language. We need to get rid of the cheat and stick, you know, because have you tried to use one?
No, I've never actually tried. No.
Well, yeah, go and try to use one. Anyone that stands on a green and says cheat and stick should be made to use one. Okay? Because it is good when you get there. But my word, the amount of work you got to put in, some people to actually use it. I think anyone that's played golf previously so we can get the handle of it a bit quicker. But by all means, man, I've seen people go and try and use it I've seen people use it from grade 7 and come up to grades. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay? But they've still put the effort in to get to that level, whether they're using the stick or whether they're using their hand. We got to a certain level because we practice with our hand. They're getting to a certain level because they're practicing without equipment. Let them do it. Like it says, it keeps more people in the game. Stop calling it a cheat and stick. It is a bowling arm or a bowling aid. Okay? You know, and the DHB one, fantastic piece of equipment, I think.
Yep.
So it is, and that's the one that we see most commonly used. Fantastic piece of equipment. But yeah, that was a big post to see. One of the better posts that I've actually seen shared on Lawn Bowls Australia. I'll give them a round. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see. I think the general population need to take that on board too, because you never know. Like, someone out there, karma could come and get you. Somebody could be out there whinging about a cheating stick. Next thing you know, you need one.
Otherwise, you're not playing bowls anymore.
Nope. And for someone that works in the sport and has KPIs, I'm all for it. We've got a lot more people using them now too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd say in the last 18 months, we've gone from a handful to easily over 20.
Right. Your club?
Yeah, and a couple of them have... Actually, there's one in particular has probably regained a bit of confidence and regained some ability. He was starting to lose that a little bit. But the rest of them are all sort of hovering around the grades that they were in anyway. There's one guy went away from the sport for a while, came back and was struggling and here, give this a go, and he's gone gangbusters. He's won regional championships and winning minor pairs and stuff with the club, so well done to them. It's like anything, it takes time to use it. I went out, I've played golf in the past and gone okay. Like, I'm not Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy, but I went out today, having not swung a club in nearly 12 months. My goodness. It's like anything, it just needs work. You need to be consistently doing it.
Like,
You know,
I think
so-
I think the greenkeepers would be cheering as well that we have bowling arms. Like, you do not want somebody dropping them from your hip, like, because they can't bend down, deliver a bowl. So
No, 100%. And those clubs are
a bit of greens out there as well that you've got
100%.
bowlers using those bowling arms. So you definitely, let's not call them cheat sticks. Let's let people use them. Whoever wants to use them, don't need a medical certificate. Scrap that rubbish and get more people into our sport.
Yeah. Finish on another one, mate, just to stir people up. Back to the BPL. First place, Hillsville Hawks.
Yeah.
Second place, Geelong Jets.
Yeah.
Third place, Melbourne Pulse. All three were using skippers that weren't Australian. That'll be a bit of an ego debt to some of our listeners. Gary Kelly, Nicky Brett, and Paul Foster. Three good names.
Northern Hemisphere born, eh? They're all
Coming down here and showing them how to play on the carpet.
well, there are a lot more carpets over there, DJ, isn't there?
Man, I reckon one of the rinks in Moama has to be relayed because Paul Foster burned. He was just on fire. It was fantastic to watch, mate. You know what was even better to watch? The old foot fault comments came back too. Did you see them?
No way, did
No. Gary's been fouled of it again. The old screenshots and everything. But I got it, man. I was sitting there watching, and screw it, I'll name him Carl Healy.
Yeah.
He lined up for a drive, and as soon as he put his foot down, I thought this is going to not end well. It's not going to end well, Carl. He started with the front half of his foot off the mat.
Yeah.
I went for the run, and this is not going to end well. And I went straight on, and yep, there's someone will comment. That was the biggest foot fall I've ever seen. I'm not sure it was. I reckon he still had part of his foot over the mat live. I haven't gone back and watched it, but yeah, seen that and just like, here we go. And then I had a look that night when I go back to the hotel room, and there's all the screenshots of Gary with the leg kicked out, and oh man.
No, I think that's absolute rubbish, that too. That needs to disappear. And look, I think World Bowls can do that. World Bowls can do that with a change of a rule, and that whole conversation is gone. So
as long as you start with your foot on the mat, it's fine.
Yep.
As long as you start with your foot on the mat.
Yep.
Start with your foot on the mat.
It doesn't just start with your foot in the mat. Doesn't.
Gary had absolutely no advantage there.
No.
You know, Carl had, well, arguably, I suppose Carl might have had, he was getting a bit of better grip or whatever by using the carpet, but still, like, it's just, like I said, the old foot fault Karens are out in force on Facebook, so they're
Brilliant.
Watching the best competition around with best bowls available worldwide in it now. All they're worried about was the blink of foot faults. They didn't get there for their foot fault, trust me. They got there on their ability. Maybe worry about what they're doing there and follow that instead of the blink of foot fault. Mate, on that note, will we end it? Have you got anything else you want to add?
I think you've went off on enough this week, DJ. I think we leave it for the next episode, and we'll leave it there, and hopefully we like to hear the thoughts and comments out there. I'd love to hear people getting in contact with us. Drop us an email, get in touch. Anything else you've read or seen that you want us to talk about, and we'd actually love to hear from other states, people in other states. Like,
mate, the guys that are involved in these elite events that are listening, just drop Simon at thebowlsacademy.com or DJ at thebowlsacademy.com. Just send us something private. Like, some of you will know, I've spoke to you all in the last couple of weeks, and not one name got mentioned on here. I'm happy to put my neck on the line and say these are my own opinions. You know, I've disagreed with some of them that are there. I've very much agreed with some of them that are there. Some have changed my mind, and then I've gone back, blah, blah, blah. What I said tonight was 100% what I'm feeling, which, like I said, is why I didn't take the notes down previously. But if anyone out there disagrees or agrees, by all means, get in touch with it. But yeah, it'll be an interesting episode, Simon. Hopefully we get a bit more feedback off this one.
And also, we're open to Bulls New South Wales contacting us for...
they do, trust me.
For an official response or a comment or any sort of explanation as to the moving of those dates for Platinum Pennants. So, yeah, we'd love to hear any sort of comment and feedback with regards to that. That would be awesome.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you folks. So we hopefully you all enjoyed that one. Hopefully the right people are listening. Hopefully the right people are making the right decisions. It's just, like I said, it's DJ Dilworth and Simon Little from the Bulls Academy giving their opinions. Never mind what clubs we're affiliated with. It's just me and him chewing the fat. Honestly, talk about bowls and giving our honest thoughts on what we think should be happening and how it should be happening. And I just want to wrap up with another major singles champion from Tarrant Point, for the second time, Simon Little, mate. It's an honour to sit here in front of you as a 2-time major singles winner.
Thanks, DJ.
Well done, Simon. And thanks again to Dale for coming in this week too. Even though you don't know how to work a computer, son, just good. Lucky you're good on the bowling green. Well, as always, folks, until next time, keep that little disc on the inside.
And good luck in those greens.